Welcome back to the Everyday Fan. So I want to talk about something right now that this is what I think kind of went down, and I have no inside knowledge. I know nothing, but I am a manager, and I've been a manager most of my adult life. I've also been a trained investigator. So I deal in facts, and I deal with kind of gut feelings, if you will. So the Indiana Fever GM, Amber Cox, gave an interview to Tony East. And Tony began asking Amber about Bonner's decision to leave the Indiana Fever. And Amber said, and I'm going to paraphrase most of this, but she said, this is a quote. As we got into the season, she expressed that she didn't feel like it was a good fit for her, meaning Indiana Fever wasn't a good fit. Now, she had followed Stephanie White down from Connecticut. We were only, May 17th was the start of the season, and I believe Dewanna only played maybe 9 games, and she sat out the other 5. Okay, so keep that, pin that. So this is not a long season. This was just coming down. She got a very high contract of $200,000. Amber Cox continues to say, we talked through that and we had conversations. Not one. She didn't say we had a conversation. We had conversations and made some adjustments to the lineup. So they were trying to placate her and get her to stay. What can we do to make it more amenable for you to stay with the Indiana Fever? Well, that wasn't going to work with her because she really didn't want to stay on the team. She wanted off. She wanted down with her girlfriend, Alyssa Thomas, at the Mercury. And then Amber continues, we just couldn't get to a place where it felt good for her. As we got further along in the process, we explored trade options. So they did explore trade options. What I don't know is if Dewanna actually got an option for a trade. I don't know. I'm never going to know. I'm an everyday fan. I don't have the back office and the front office capability of being in those negotiations. So I'm not going to know. I'm not going to be an inside person. I'm not going to know any information on that. So one of two things happened. Either she got offers or she didn't get offers. But I know nothing about the contracts, the CBAs, or the contracts of the players, how the cap works. If I was in the industry, I would know quickly. It would be something that you would just catch on very quickly. But if someone had to buy her out of her existing contract for $200,000, I don't know that she would have gotten that offer with how she was, her performance with the Indiana Fever. Yes, she's a decorated veteran. Yes, she has multiple accolades behind her name. But I don't know if she would have gotten that offer. Maybe she did get that offer. You know, there's rumors that she got an offer to go other places and they were going to buy her out of her contract. But she didn't want to go because it wasn't the Mercury. So I don't know if we're never going to know unless Dewanna Bonner gives an interview and comes out and actually tells the story. Only she and a few people might know. As we got further along into the process, they explored the trade options. Given the level of Dewanna's contract, meaning she was a max contract, she was $200,000, we just couldn't find something suitable, meaning suitable to the teams that were trying to bring her on or suitable to Dewanna on where she wanted to go. Because I think all along, I think that the end game for Dewanna was getting down to the Mercury. It was getting to the Mercury, always. When she left Connecticut and came to Indiana, the end goal was her getting to the Mercury, where her girlfriend was. I think that that was the end goal between her and Alyssa Thomas. So it was a 1-year contract. Then you had all the injuries started happening. And I can't believe that Dewanna didn't get offers. Let's just say the Indiana Fever, and I don't know how this goes on accordingly, the contracts and all. Let's just say the Indiana Fever paid her $80,000 for the games that she had already played, right? Played and sat out. So there were, I believe, 14 games. Let's just say they paid $80,000 for that. She was on a $200,000 contract, and someone wanted to pick her up for $120,000. They had the cap on the team, and they had injuries, and they needed Dewanna in the position. So with all the injuries that were happening and all the teams that were in hardship during this time, I can't imagine that Dewanna didn't at least get one offer. But she probably turned it down because she did not want to go there. She wanted to go to the Mercury. So we have Caitlin Clark out. We have no one as a backup. We have to bring on Ari McDonald. So we bring on Ari. Ari, number one, no one picked her up. She's a good, scrappy player. She plays with heart. If I have seen anyone play with heart, Ari plays with heart. But her height just kept her out, right, from consideration from a lot of teams. It wasn't until everyone was in dire straits with hardships that Ari even got looked at. You didn't have a lot of options for point guards. So the Fever brings her on an emergency contract for a point guard to fill in for Caitlin. And she did pretty well, considering. She had no time to gel with the players, nothing. She saw a bit of film and she was thrown onto the floor. Her jersey didn't even have her name on it. If I were the manager and I knew I had this Dewanna Bonner problem, facing me, I would look into all my options. A manager's not going to let a player go without having a plan B. So the front office probably started looking into options. Now, when Sophie and Caitlin came back from IR, the injured reserve list, they had to let Ari go. And they let Ari go the moment they knew Caitlin was coming back because they didn't want to spend that cap. Now, if I were a betting girl, I would say that the Indiana Fever probably pulled Ari in. Stephanie was in the meeting, the front office was in the meeting, and all the leadership, and they probably said, look, Ari, we like what you did. We might have a position for you in the future. We're working on something. We're going to have to waive you currently because of the rules and regulations, but we don't want you to take offers for other teams. We can't tell you what to do. Now here's a woman that wants to play. She kept in shape in the off season. She continued to play. She continued to train so she could be call-up ready. She wanted to play basketball for the W. Why? And I'm sure when Ari left, she had a wait period. I'm sure after that wait period was up, there were teams contacting Ari because they saw what kind of stats she put up. They saw what kind of possibility she could be in. They saw that she might be a good fit for the team because of how much heart she brought and energy she brought to a team. So I can't imagine that Ari did not have other offers because we have this, all of these teams are being plagued all at once from injured reserve. all these players are going out on injuries. Why? Because the refs aren't calling fouls. And when the refs don't call fouls, what do the children do when the parents allow them to do it? They just continue to do it, but they do it a little bit more each time to see what they can get away with. They push that edge of the envelope. So we have blatant, flagrant fouls being had. Players going out with concussions, with teeth missing, with pneumothoraxes because of a blow to the chest. All of these things with landing space violations, turned ankles, ACL injuries, you name it, players are going out. All of these teams, all of a sudden, were plagued with a quarter of their roster just gone. Ari had to have gotten a contract offer, but she didn't take it. Why? Because I think the Indiana Fever promised, we're going to bring you back. We're going to bring you back. We want to bring you back. We just have to take care of this one issue first to make room to bring you back, to be able to have the cap space to bring you back. And so she waited for the Indiana Fever because that's the team she wanted to be on. Because I think they promised her there might be a deal. And then when they knew, as soon as they needed to, they knew when everything broke and all the hatred was coming out and Dewanna was posting pictures why Indiana Fever was in fourth quarter of one of their games. She never went to practices. She never supported the team. She didn't do anything. Well, what do you have when you have a player that at this point is toxic to the team or the organization? You send them home to sit. That's what you do. You send them home to sit. Now, the outcome's not going to be good for the player if that's what's going on. Because the organization has already said, you know, you're not a good fit for us. We're not a good fit for you. We're not going to allow you to come in and poison the locker room. So we're going to sit you out and we're still going to pay you. So basically she was on administrative leave with pay. And then Ari came back. They let her go as soon as Dewanna Bonner, as soon as she posted. The next morning, it was all over social media that she had been waived. And as soon as she had been waived, hello, Ari McDonald. Welcome back, Ari McDonald. Things don't happen that quickly. I think those things were already put in motion. Now, the big question you have to ask yourself, is the Mercury going to pick her up? Because first she said she wanted to go to Atlanta or the Mercury. I don't know that the Atlanta Dream would take her. I don't see any reason why they would. They're doing too well with status quo. They don't want to mess up status quo. And she really wants to be with the Mercury, and she's voiced that. So why would the Dream pick her up? She's already showed everyone that she's going to screw a team, come down, sign a contract, and not fulfill her contract and not support the team. She already did that when she did the Indiana Fever deal, right? So she's kind of ruined her credibility. You have this veteran player who's a class act, who's got accolades just streaming behind her. And now you have this. This is what she's going out with. This is what she's going to be known for, which is a tragedy, actually. The Mercury have now waived a player. So they have room on their roster to bring her down. And I don't know if they've made the deal, if they've done a gentleman's agreement, a handshake deal. I don't know what has gone on. I don't know if they're bringing her down. But if I'm Dewanna Bonner, I don't care about contract money. I would want to be down my girlfriend because that was her just absolute tunnel vision, right? That was what she wanted. She's already gotten, I don't even know, roughly $80,000 from, let's just say, from Indiana Fever for the year. So they paid her out. So let's say she got $80,000. If she goes down and gets another $80,000, that's within the cap agreement for, you know, she would go down to the Mercury. She would go down to be a bench player if she could go down to the same team that her girlfriend was on. And if you put her $80,000 that the Mercury might give her with the $80,000, that's $160K a year. And she's a bench player, so she's not going to start, and she's going to be okay with that. But what was the one reason she wanted to leave Indiana Fever? Because Stephanie White didn't start her after so many games because she was ruining the game. She was not producing. So Lexi Hall came in, someone that also has a heart, that works hard. So we have all this drama, and I don't know how it's going to turn out, but congratulations, Ari McDonald, for getting a contract for the rest of the season. And I don't know what's going on with Caitlin, and I don't even know if Caitlin can get her groove back. I absolutely do not know what's going on, but I know this. The front office isn't taking care of their team. The W isn't taking care and protecting their players. Why, I don't know. The locker room is divided. Stephanie White doesn't look like she's gelling with the players. I don't know how this is all going to turn out. I do not know if Caitlin is going to get her groove back. I don't know if the Indiana Fever are going to shoot to the top. I don't know. I don't know if that's possible this year with everything that's gone on. None of us will know until it happens. Hindsight's 20/20. Until next time.